Hello, sweet friend. So today we're going to talk about honesty and how that impacts your healing journey and just overall authenticity in naming the things, naming the trauma, naming the hurt. I think we live like in our culture, like Western culture, now more so than ever. We like to tootle around the bush, so to speak, on naming things. So we may not use words like abuse or domestic violence. We'll say things like harm or danger or just like more flowery words, easier words to swallow rather than actually naming them. And I think that has a big impact on healing, being honest with yourself, being honest with other people. And I think that can really impact the direction and the amount of healing that you do. You know, I was reflecting on before I left my abusive marriage, I was in a counseling session with my counselor and I was telling her, you know, this is the reality, this is what's going on. Like, I didn't really know I was in an abusive situation, but I was explaining like what that looked like and all the things. And after I was done, she looked at me and she said, like, Allie, these things that you've said that he's done to you, like, what if someone did that to your mom? Would that be okay? Is that an okay way to treat like your mother? And I remember like reflecting really quick and thinking, no, that's totally wrong. You don't treat someone like that. I said that out loud. And she said, so why do you think it's okay for you to be treated that way? That's abuse. And I just remember the impact it had on my heart and my head. I just kind of sit there. I'm like, oh my gosh, someone had to name it first. Someone had to open that honesty box, if you will, and had to name the thing abuse, domestic violence, not just, oh, it's harm, oh, it's hurt or whatever. And it just hit me, like it hit me hard. And it just like cracked something open within me. It changed everything because I really couldn't move forward until I could clearly see what I was moving away from. How am I taking steps forward when I have no idea what this, like the springboard or the yucky stuff that I was trying to move away from? Until you can name it and be honest with yourself and maybe one other person, whoever you trust in your life, what direction are you, like, where are you really going? So this past, you know, I was writing a recent article on this very topic in my Substack. In the bottom in the description, I'll put the link below and you can have a read if you like to read rather than listen. It's a picture. It's a picture of like an image of a ballerina on a stage. You know, ballerinas, they have like their nice outfit. They look so beautiful. People are clapping for them. They're doing their dance. Like everyone's happy. That the image of the ballerina itself is very, like, it's beautiful. It's easy to swallow, so to speak. It just looks good. How can we do anything but clap for something so pretty, right? And so elegant. But maybe, how do we know that that ballerina, that her inner world could be falling apart? I think a lot of us do that dance. Like, we on the outside will put on a happy face or water down what's really going on the outside, like in our environment and in our inner world. It's like the performance dance, right? I look this way on the outside, but inside it's yuck. And it's easier to let other people see our beautiful ballerina selves and clap for us, so to speak. Because like, how many times, like, let's say you go out to the grocery store, the mall or something, or even to see family, like, how are you? I'm good. That's a very Western culture response. I'm good. Everything's fine. How are you? And if your response was, actually, my world is falling apart and I have an abusive husband, I'm not sure me and my kids have a place to stay right now, a person's going to look at you like, whoa, TMI, just, I didn't really want to know how you were doing. That's too much for me. You know, we hold it all together when we're actually falling apart. We smile, we cope, and we just kind of push through, right? And people are going to clap for that. They like easy, we like low maintenance. People are just going to be okay with that. But really, that like slow dance is destroying us from the inside out. So that's where honesty comes in. You know, that's something that just came into my mind recently. Honesty breaks that performance dance, breaks that like people pleasing. It's almost like a bulldozer that comes through and just like clears a path, right? Clear the weeds, clear the gravel, clear the mud. Honesty is gonna come in and bulldoze that down. Because if we're not willing to say like what actually happened to us, or to understand what went on or what is going on and how it affected us, we're just going to keep dancing and we're not really going to truly move forward. So I think part of being honest with our healing is just being honest if we're also suppressing stuff. You know, carrying that load, carrying that pain, pushing it down. That's part of like putting on that performance face. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not, if we're constantly pushing it down, you almost think of like a space and say we pushed all things down. Now we're at this level, like all this suppressed feelings and emotions and trauma. How much space do we have left for capacity for like emotional capacity for parenting, for marriage, for jobs, for life? Like this much space. I'm yelling at my kids because I have this much space to cope with the rest of life. I'm ignoring my spouse because I just want to go and like Netflix and chill the rest of the day because I really don't have capacity. You know, if we stop suppressing stuff, right? Then, and then we start naming it and getting rid of it from our body and our mind, then we have more capacity to love and to hear God clearly. Because, you know, if you're too busy holding yourself together, people pleasing, being defensive, coping, like there's not a whole lot of room for other stuff. And like we all know, suppressing doesn't make anything go away. It just gets louder and louder and comes out at a later date. And then it probably comes out super yucky and gross. But when we are honest, when we let God save people into like our safe spaces, then we're going to start clearing room like that bulldozer, more capacity, more peace. You know, Psalm 147:3 talks about like God heals the brokenhearted. Not the pretty ballerinas who just perform well, the brokenhearted, the honest ones, the ones who are going to admit that they are brokenhearted. Because that's like, the word brokenhearted, that's a name, that's naming something. I feel brokenhearted. I'm honest with myself to know that I feel brokenhearted. Okay, so I've had a lot of time to think this past week and a half that, and about boundaries too, right? Because if we are doing performance dance, if we're not being honest with ourselves, our boundaries are usually pretty mucky and yucky. So I was thinking, okay, when we're performing and we're people pleasing, codependency, all that stuff, and this is revolutionary, whatever the word is for me, because I've struggled with boundaries for most of my life. In a warped way of thinking, I think, okay, people pleasing is going to keep me safe. I'm avoiding getting that person mad at me. I'm avoiding rocking the boat. Therefore, I'm safe. I'm not rejected. I'm not abandoned. That's like a yucky, unhealthy way to have a boundary. Like the healthy way to keep ourselves safe is a boundary. Like not a wall, not a, hey, no one's going to come and touch me ever. Like just a fence with a gate that can open and close according to what I feel, what I want to say yes to and what I want to say no to. So like a real boundary is more like let's say, yeah, like I said, a strong wooden fence, good solid nails, all the things. It stands, it holds, and I can decide who comes in and out. Rather than just, I'm going to please you, I'm going to deny myself, deny my needs, deny everything. I don't have to say yes to the people that guilt trip me or manipulate me or make me feel responsible for their feelings. I can say, you know what, I'm going to have a boundary. I'm going to say no here. And I'm going to say no and not feel guilty about it. Or I'm going to say yes and I actually mean yes, right? I think that relates to Proverbs 4:23 when it talks about guarding your heart above all else. Like God's not, when he said that, I don't think it was a suggestion like, hey, it might be nice to guard your heart. Because the Bible also talks about like the heart being the wellspring of life. So it's more like a stewardship instruction, right? Like self-care as stewardship. We are responsible for protecting what God has placed inside us for our own health and our own safety. And then thinking about like Matthew 5:37 says to let your yes be yes and your no be no. Like a clear yes, a clear no, not maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to people please. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I don't have to give an explanation. You don't have to like over justify, just be honest with yourself and other people. So back to like the dancing metaphor. I would rather be finished with the ballerina performance dance to make other people comfortable. And I would rather do an authentic, like hip hop street dance, like a raw, real one that tells like the real story of like who I am and what's going on for me. So it may not always be graceful, pretty, or like easy to watch, but it's going to be vulnerable, it's going to be honest, and it's going to be mine. And that might mean when someone says, hey, are you doing okay? No, not really. That person can decide to stay, tag along, listen, or just be like, hey, gotta go. Don't really want to get into this raw dance that you have going on. If they would rather go back and watch something like more polished, more predictable, like I understand, I guess. Because what I have learned in this healing journey is some people stay and some people go. And some people just want you to make it more palatable for them so that they can tolerate whatever you have going on better. So it might cost you something. It's cost me something. I'm sure it's cost you something when you reflect back. So I don't think, friend, that God is like asking you to, actually, I know he's not asking you to be honest with him or to not be honest with him. He's asking you to be honest. Sorry, had to just take care of the baby. So honesty, he's asking us to be honest with him. When we're honest with ourselves, with other people, and with God, it moves our healing journey in a better direction, a more authentic direction, and a more real direction. So thank you for sitting with me today. Share the video with someone who might need it. I just don't think we speak enough about this in the church, especially as Christian women. So help a fellow friend out, and we'll see you next time.